comment, but if you're here and you have a minute, I'd like for you to come up because I'd ask you a question or two. The first one I'll ask you as road and bridge. There was a load of, from Martin Marietta, of a 1/2 inch dry chip.
Yes.
What is that? What was that used for? I guess off the top of your head, I'm sorry.
Is this the most recent one? Are you talking about a recent purchase?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
on,
That was for the landfill. No, the one
No.
load wasn't.
So don't forget that we had committed to buy
Right.
an amount of rock last year.
that's the Martin Marietta.
I call it Du
Yes,
Bois.
Du Bois.
Okay,
fair
that's why I'm trying to get, I'm
Yes.
cutting you off here. I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm thinking that I might be able to tell you what that is in case you guys are trying to.
Okay, that's fine. I was trying to, yeah, I didn't want to put you on the hot seat. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, but I came at you the wrong way. You had the answer.
And what happened, Lucas, just so you know, also, we talked about this a little bit before, but the county had committed to have X amount of tons ran. When we made the decision that we weren't gonna do as much chip and seal next year, I made some calls up there and made sure that we were not burning a bridge and that we weren't gonna get ourselves in a bind by not hauling. So what we agreed to do is just take the smaller amount that they had already ran.
Okay,
And that way, we get it in our stock, it's good quality rock, but we're not taking what we originally,
so does that mean we will see more of these or it'll be done?
well,
Just I
there,
don't ask the same.
there
question.
was, I need to get the exact amount of tons that we agreed to,
Okay,
and they started hauling that. And so we could talk to John and see where he
Fair
is
enough.
on that.
fair enough. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, question answered.
But the, people that I spoke to in management up there, they assured us that in no way would they be upset if we didn't take the full amount that we had asked for.
Understood. Well, I actually didn't know what they meant by the 1/2 inch dry chip, and now it makes perfect sense because. Okay, appreciate it. Any more questions for her on the road and bridge? Yes. My next one was the services for the elderly. With the inclement weather we had last week, there was a day that needed to cancel. And then we talked in here on Monday, maybe about trying to, we don't really have a system set up in place. If I recall correctly, the board sort of by consensus wanted to leave it up to your office to make that call. Is that right?
Yeah, we don't want to just follow if the school shuts down, we don't want to just say we're shutting down because we want to be able to make that decision ourselves. And so obviously the way you did it, talking about the weather, what the problems are going to be, I think it needs to be more,
And I talked to the drivers.
yeah.
And kind of got their feel about it too.
And then correct me if I'm wrong, you were contacting people to let them know that it wasn't gonna happen, because I know you got a text from somebody that was very happy that was going on,
Yes.
so.
So are you comfortable making that decision then?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Because I truthfully don't feel like the meals should be canceled just when there's no school. Because there are so many elderly people that may be all they eat.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so the director. You'll be in charge of when it runs and when it doesn't. So I think that's fine. If you need anything from us on that, it's all.
and the text that I got was, I had sent with the bills that I mailed out in January, the meal info says I had sent a list of the holidays that we will not be, the courthouse is closed. And they were happy to get that because they said that they had never known when they were getting meals or weren't getting meals, I should say. So I had several days.
All right, well, we have full confidence in your ability and we hear you're doing a good job, so we appreciate that. And do you have anything for us? That was on the list. Okay, wonderful.
Okay,
Thanks for coming in.
you're welcome.
Thanks for your hard work too. All right, we will roll on to the minutes from the 26th. Are there any additions, corrections, or comments to the minutes as presented?
I didn't have any comments on the minutes.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the
Is
minutes.
there a second?
I'd second that.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. Good job. Item number 2, which is accounts payable. 30. All right. Who wants to go first? Any questions?
Agree.
Okay.
So I don't know if, I mean, obviously, people that are watching the meeting, one thing we need to say, Nikki does a good job of getting us all of this stuff several days prior to the meeting usually. So I don't know if people realize that it's not, we're looking at it right now and not having any questions. We have at least a day beforehand to go through and see if there's anything that looks out of the ordinary.
Sure.
And for the most part, you know, especially when I was new, there was a lot of questions, but as we go through, a lot of it is cut and dry. So if they're thinking that we're just not looking at it, that's not the case. I go on the weekend and she always has it there for us. So I know you guys do the same thing. So I thought
Well,
important to let people know that.
Sure, I actually had some questions.
Okay, well,
Very good.
perfect.
Mine was, and it was Fall City Sanitation, which is their number 0084928. And there was 2 charges in there for $1,680. Is that,
I believe it's the sheriff's department, dumpster, and the commission splits it, the sheriff's department, because, his normal trash. Dave and Denny take it down, but not dumpster, so it's hauling it all the way to landfill every day.
okay, so that's monthly then?
Things that ain't done.
Annual, okay, wonderful. That's why that stuck out, because and then the other one I had was in diversion. And it was 0085016, and it was with the city of Hiawatha for 1/2 of a grade key.
Yeah, but I thought I attached the mail, but.
Yeah, I didn't see, I'm
There
sorry.
was a note in.
I'll check part of it.
Yeah, I didn't know what else.
I'm sorry. Okay, so that question answers itself, I'll just look for that.
So can we go back to the sanitation? So that, there was 2 just alike, so that,
They just do 50/50, half commissioner and half shift.
okay, so, well, but that's, okay.
Say it again, Bill. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Well, there was two amounts the same, so if it's half out of the commissioner's budget, and half out of the sheriff's budget.
To pay for the annual, it all makes sense, all right. Any other questions?
I did not have any questions on that.
I'm sorry, I missed that note too, so that's. The note says it's digital forensics. And we've done this before and so no big deal, so if there's no more questions. Is there a motion to approve accounts payable for 1/30 of 26?
So move.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. It's done.
Thank you, Nikki, though, for getting us that early. Appreciate it.
Item number 3.
My comment was, why did it come on Thursday? And then my wife reminded me, we got a meeting on Friday, so,
Yeah,
so thank you, yeah. Appreciate
I'm
it.
trying to get it out as soon as maybe the check printed, get it ready.
Okay, item number 3 is this K-Camp risk assessment.
I, will be possible, I had printed a paper copy, so I can go here and make notes on the items that we are addressing, so I can keep track of when we get it all, whatever is going on, I can sign it back.
Yes,
Okay.
I
so
can bring you that. I've already, obviously, I'm working on that, so
Do you have the paper copy of me?
I have a paper copy.
Okay, but that's all I need, just so I can keep track of it. Well, it's gonna be changed and so.
I spoke to Don Pounds also because some of it is out at his facility, so I spoke to him about
Okay.
moving forward and getting it taken care of.
Okay, wonderful. Taken care of. It's in motion and there's a deadline there somewhere in March, I believe.
Yes.
So, but we're on top of it. Good job. Okay, item number 4.
Real quick, I'm sorry. Could you get a copy to our janitor, please?
Mhm.
Okay, because
Also,
otherwise I'll just have to make a copy of mine.
I don't want him to freak out, like some of the stuff that he, like the key thing.
If you get me the copy, I'll take it to him because we're sitting down and talking about it. That way I don't have to make a copy of mine. Be great.
Okay. Item number 4 is this county highway officials conference. It's in Emporia,
The Lyons County?
Lyon County Fair.
So you don't have to tell me today, but by, planning to let them know if anybody's gonna go. So, next couple weeks, if someone wants to sign up, something like that.
So offhand,
I'm not planning on going. I went to one in Holton one year. Sounds like about the same kind of stuff we're talking about.
is this designed for commissioners and like managers here, or is this designed for the road and bridge foreman?
Well, I've never attended one, so I'm not quite sure. Maybe Bill, what do you think since you went to one?
I didn't know that. I mean, they talk about their state stuff and some of that's. And there's some vendors there used for that big time, trying to sell stuff, but. Since. To me, it wasn't worth going to employ. If it was in Holton, I'd say, yeah, I go. Or if it was closer.
Okay, well, let's just put it on unless you have a burning desire to commit right now. We can put it on the list. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it later. So we'll move on from there. It's county council. I didn't speak with Mr. Parker at Austin.
I did. So we're having a meeting obviously on Monday,
Okay,
and so he called in and we talked. But I sent him a picture of this. And he said that since we're going into a workshop meeting afterwards, he said that if we had any questions, we could get them during that time. But otherwise, he was going to be coming to the Monday meeting. And then obviously it's an update from him. So he told me again what he's working on. If we have any questions, we can call him. Otherwise, we'll be seeing him on Monday.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
well, I've got questions for him, but we'll maybe get a hold of him. If we don't, we'll talk to him on Monday. Okay, well, we have burned through our agenda. Is there anything else that we need to talk about before Ms. Brindle? I would ask about the burn permit. Did that email, did we get that sent out? Or the update on that? Do we have that?
I haven't seen an update.
Okay,
Dawn House gonna send it to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
okay, so
So it's gonna be a topic that's. We're gonna definitely have to address and come up with some.
So I guess I didn't ask my question right. The last I knew, we were gonna put together an email list of the fire chiefs.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about. There's a lot of discussion with the burn permit and with what everybody's wanting to do, and I thought that's what you were reading. So I told Nikki I would get the names. I do have the names with me today, and I figured I could give you those names and numbers. during the
That would
workshop.
match well.
I don't know.
Oh.
What I did is I reached out because a lot of times if you go on these lists, they're not accurate, they're up to date. So I reached out to a person that would know and asked him to tell me who is actually who we needed to talk to. And he gave me a list of names and numbers.
So what do we need to do? Like, call people and actually.
I would like to formulate a very simple email, just says we want to talk about the burn permit.
Right.
You've got input, and we need to set up a meeting or set up some time to get everyone together.
Correct. So we have the numbers now, and however we do that, Nikki.
So we email and then we ask, they have
The
input.
problem is some of these people, we don't have an email for, we don't know what they do. So I think maybe just calling would be the best way. Would you want me to call them? Would that help you out?
Probably somebody that was.
Yeah. So I have no problem with, now that we have the list of calling these individuals and explaining what we're trying to do and then try to figure out what setting we want to bring them in.
Okay.
I think that's probably the best way to do it.
No, you're fine. Clock's ticking on that, and so, okay, we got the email. We'll still send an email with kind of the basic idea. We're looking for input on the burn permit or any discussion about changes you'd like to make, or maybe they're happy, whatever.
So Nikki, that meeting, does it have to be? Since we're not gonna be taking any action, it doesn't have to be in an executive session, right?
Oh, no, that's what be.
Okay, so we could do it at our workshop meeting, would that be?
Get everybody around.
Uh-huh. So today, if we can list our next workshop days, we know that they're usually on a Thursday, then I could take one of those days and start calling them and see if we could get everybody in there. Would that work for you guys? Otherwise, it's gonna have to be a special,
No, it's fine with me. Most of them are work,
right? So it might even have to be after hours, and then it would obviously require all of us to be there.
Okay. We'll try to do
I
something.
think it's gonna be like herding cats, we're gonna have to try to figure out a day that's gonna work for everybody, because we need everybody there.
So everybody,
Could be hard.
we may not have the chief's email, but when we send it out to the layer, to the group of chiefs that we know, they will more than likely share it with the rest of them. And I think that stuff will rise to the top. But if you'd like to make some phone calls, that's wonderful. I'm not sure we need to have a meeting with everybody in here. I think we'll get a pretty good idea what they want, and a few leaders will step forward.
It sounds, from what I've heard, it sounds like there's not a consensus.
Oh, there isn't?
That's the reason I'm saying it's not gonna be one thing where they all come in and they're agreeing to something. I think it's gonna take a little bit more than we're
Right.
planning
I
on.
think it's gonna be, it's gonna be good if you're gonna get people to agree on. Right.
All right, so
So I will call each and every one of the numbers I had, Nikki. I'll get back to you. And we can take a look at, I'll just start reaching out and trying to figure out a date that's gonna work for most of the people. I doubt we'll have everybody there at one date. Okay? And I can have that back on Monday's meeting.
So then, just to drop this idea, if the hindrance, if there's a hindrance that people can't attend because they're volunteer fire chiefs, could we schedule a meeting where an individual commissioner met with them and that commissioner would just bring the group?
Yes, as long as it's individual, then I don't see any reason why, correct? Okay.
So I guess I would keep that as an option. And I'm happy to do it. Would you like to do it? Would you like to do it? Be that point of contact if it comes to that. Like if you can't get them scheduled for a Thursday, but you could get them for a Wednesday evening. I mean, I ask you to do a lot. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay.
So, let's make a comment, if the chief couldn't come, maybe the assistant chief could come and just bring the ideas they should get.
Yeah.
Hopefully each department would agree on what they want, so anybody from that department should be able to.
In the interest of time, we'll be burning CRP here. I think the window is the 1st of March to the 15th of April. So again, the clock is ticking. All this stuff takes time. So if you feel like when you make these phone calls that a daytime meeting's not gonna work, I'd like to go ahead and give you our blessing to do an evening meeting, and you'll just handle it by yourself.
Okay.
And report
Yeah.
that.
That sounds good.
Okay, wonderful. So by consensus, are you okay with that? I'm okay with that, and you're okay, so we'll move on. What else? We got about 3 minutes before our Zoom meeting.
KDH thing that I had on the agenda last week. I talked to Andy with them. And he said I could do it, so I just filled everything out and submitted it Wednesday, I think. So hopefully that, you get approved for that, financials for sure.
Okay. So you filled it out and submitted it?
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll know,
I think it's going to be long now.
they were really fast. Okay, so we'll know about that.
That was for what?
For the solid waste, KDHE permit to get renewed, yeah.
Okay.
Financial assurance.
Guess we had to close that.
Right.
Not that you remember. Okay. Few minutes. On the transfer station and the ECDS, did that get communicated? Do I need to communicate that with the office about the charges and how that's gonna?
The thing would be going to CPS for this year.
Okay,
Now the 2025 charges, I don't know.
well, we'll just, those are different. We'll just play that the way we've always been doing, at least for the time being. But I meant, do I need to contact the director over there and let her know about the change? Or
I
remind
think
her?
we discussed it with her, and that was the reason for the increase of their
Okay.
appropriation, so I think. everyone can be-
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. All right. Okay. Well, hello, we have you on at 1:30, so I'm trying to be very disciplined and wait till the clock rolls over. But welcome to our meeting. And when that happens, we'll get started directly. Okay, it's 1:30. Welcome. I'm Lucas Heinen with the Brown County Commission. I've got fellow commissioners Bill Pollock and Richard Tesserero. And our county clerk's there in the corner, and we have just a few people in the back, but welcome, and I'm glad you could make time for us and about this delinquent tax sale and your work with the county. And go ahead.
Sure, sure. My name's Michelle Brunwald. I'm with the law firm of Klenda Osterman in Wichita, Kansas. My partner, Chris, who does tax foreclosure work as well, I think he hopped on. You might see him sitting over in one of your Zoom windows somewhere, but I think he's muted. I grabbed him last minute because in some emails with the treasurer this morning, she mentioned Land Bank, and I thought, oh boy, if Land Bank comes up, Chris is definitely going to want to be on the phone for it. But I will preface by saying land banks are, you're going to need to set an hour or so aside to talk land banks. Hopefully at this point, it seems like it's not an issue for you guys up there, which is good. We prefer that. That there not be land banks or land bank issues. So my understanding is that you all just were looking for a general update on the tax foreclosure proceedings. And I understand the timing of the tax foreclosure proceedings and how we run our process. And I understand there may be a little bit of a discrepancy between the way we do things and the way things have been done in the past. So I'm here to explain any of that issue or any of the things that are different about our process versus maybe what the county has done in prior years. So if you don't have any questions, I'll just give you the quick off the top. As of this. Oh, I might have gone mute there. Hopefully I didn't. It looks like you guys are going to have about 102 parcels in tax sale, roughly is what she's looking at. I know that there is a pending current tax foreclosure case, and she has worked really hard to make sure when she ran the list of eligible parcels that the 102, or give or take, that she has identified for our tax foreclosure proceeding are not already currently being wrapped up in another tax foreclosure proceeding. So it sounds like those 102 will be fresh, so to speak, going forward. She is finalizing that list and getting it to us. I think she said here in the next week or so we'll have that list. Once that list comes into our office. I'm sorry.
They can hear some feedback.
Oh, I can hear that now. Can you hear me okay?
We hear you fine. Yes.
I think it's because my partner next door he hopped off of his phone connection and got on his computer connection. And there we go. And I think we were getting reverb between the two offices. I apologize for that. Leave it to Chris to sync something up for me. Thanks, Chris.
That's my fault. As usual, it's always my fault,
And it's best if you keep that in mind.
Always.
Anyway, so it looks like you'll have 102 parcels, and we should get that finalized list from her, I think in the next week or so. Once that list comes into our office, my legal assistant will comb through it and review it, make sure that addresses look complete and full. Sometimes we might be missing a city or a zip code, or the legal descriptions that we're pulling from the tax rolls that the treasurer gives us, they may look incomplete. And so she will, it takes her a couple weeks. She goes back and forth with the treasurer to try to trim all of that down and clean it all up. So we have a solid, good working starting list. And like I said, that just takes a few weeks for us to get done. And we are in our busy time right now, everybody trying to get their new cases on file for 2026. We will then prepare what we call a skeleton petition, which is a lawsuit. That's what we initiate our lawsuit with, is the petition that identifies all of those parties that are listed on the tax rolls as having an ownership interest in the property. So anybody on the tax rolls, primary owner, co-owners, anybody who you have information regarding, they will be listed in the initial petition. We will file that and serve it. Simultaneously, we will send the master list of parcels that the treasurer and my legal assistant have worked on cleaning up. We will send that off to the title company, which we've already secured in this case, and they will start putting together the title work for those 102 parcels. When that title work, and meanwhile, we filed our skeleton petition and started service of process. Once we get that first round of service of process out the door, you'll probably find a small uptick in redemptions because people realize that now their property has been included in a case for foreclosure. So we will get a little bit few redemptions after that first service of process round. Which is really good. We get them off the list. If any of them come off the list before title does the title work, we notify the title company and say, hey, don't do the title work on this parcel or that parcel because it's been redeemed. Once the title work comes back in, we amend our petition to include everybody that the title company has identified as having a potential interest in the real estate. That could be co-owners, mortgage companies, lien holders, anybody and everybody, municipalities with specials, whatever we find, we include them in the amended petition and we work on getting service on them. We do all of our service of process. We do it by certified mail. We track all of the mailings. We file notice returns with the court. So every time we get a return of service, we file that with the court. So there's a full, complete record of everybody we serve. From time to time, we get those come back, unable to be served, unable to be served. Then my legal assistant goes down the rabbit hole doing skip trace searching, trying to locate people. And sometimes we get multiple summons and work really hard to serve people anywhere we can find them. We may call the treasurer's office, ask if they've got any information on somebody that we have trouble finding, but we work those through all throughout the case until we feel like we finally are getting service, or we just, the person is deceased. Maybe we can't get service on them. Maybe no one knows who this person is. The property's, been in this wrong name or someone's name for a long time. But regardless, we make many attempts at personal service, and then we do a publication service. It's called the publication of the notice of suit. It will take place in your local newspaper, and it will go for 3 consecutive weeks on the same day of the week each week, and that will be considered our publication service. We work the case. There's several different things that happen during the course of the case. I'll spare you the details. We wrap it up with doing getting a judgment against any properties that don't redeem. People can come in and redeem and pay the fees and costs and taxes all the way through the day prior to our actual tax sale auction to get the property dropped from the case. And that is set by statute. We will track all of those redemptions. Every time the treasurer has someone come in and pay, they notify us, we mark it off our list. So by the time we get to judgment, we hope, and it is usually the case, that many of these properties have been redeemed and the taxpayers have come in and paid the taxes and the fees to get it dropped, which is great. That is the number one goal. The number one priority is to get taxpayers to pay the taxes, pay the fees, and get out of tax sale. We're not in the business of, we don't want to sell the property. We don't want to take the property. We don't want to own the property as the county. We want people to pay their taxes. So that's always the goal. Give them notice, give them the opportunity to redeem. Once we get to the point of judgment, we'll take judgment, and then we have to, and that is basically saying that our lien is good and valid, and now it is a judgment lien against the real estate. We then prepare for the sale. So the sale is considered a post-judgment proceeding. The sale takes place up in your county. We coordinate the time and date with your county treasurer, and we staff the sale so you don't have to worry about staffing it. But we will take the judgment, we will get an order of sale, and then we again do another publication, which is the notice of sale. And again, during all of this time, your taxpayers can come in and redeem these properties out of the proceedings by paying the taxes and the costs. And then we publish that notice of sale in the newspaper up there. Same thing, one day each week, on the same day each week for 3 consecutive weeks. And then we proceed to having the auction. After that, we will wrap up all the post-auction matters with the appropriate orders and filings with the court and preparation of the deeds until the case is concluded. I anticipate that your county with 100 parcels we should have it done by the end of the calendar year of 2026. We typically can run these anywhere from a 9 to an 18-month calendar, depending on the size of the case. Now that I finally have a number, it sounds like it's going to be around 100. As long as we don't have any incredibly complicating issues, like a lot of federal liens, IRS liens, or weird agricultural liens that require special service of process. I think a 12-month to 15-month timeline is pretty standard. I don't anticipate us rolling this over to 2027, but don't quote me on that. This is a very rough estimate.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
Obviously, you just listed, you're doing a good job of listing what the process is. You guys have already been working on this. So you're, in your mind, because this is what you do, the number of properties we're talking about is about 102. And you said that you feel that this process could be completed by the end of 2026.
Yes.
So you still think we're on track for that?
Oh yeah, I feel like that's very reasonable. Because of the way the tax calendar works, parcels become eligible the second Tuesday of September, and then depending on some counties flip me a list by October 1. So I'm getting list in November, I'm getting list in December. We typically say if you get us the list by the end of, if they would have gotten us the list by the end of 2025, we can almost guarantee the sale will be done by the end of 2026, just how we run things. Now, this is going to come to me the very end of January, 1st of February. So it's crunching us a little bit to try to get it done by 2026. But as you know,
the reason I'm asking these questions is this is probably the number one thing I get questions on from people that live in Brown County is what are we doing about the tax sales? And you guys are doing a good job. It's not that. The reason we had you come on is because we want to make sure that we understand the process, but we also, is there anything we can be doing as commissioners that can make sure this process stays on track? Because you listed about 8 things that I wrote down. And I just want to make sure that if there's something that comes back to the county and the county needs to understand that we're holding up that process, we want to make sure we're not holding it up, or we're at least whatever.
No, it is. Once I get the list from the treasurer, that's the county obligation is obviously to identify the parcels and work with us in the preparation of the list. And I understand, of course, county treasurers are trying to get me lists in December, and they're so busy wrapping up year-end taxes that I don't really see a lot of things come through in December. So anybody who maybe didn't get me the list in October or November, it usually gets paused in the month of December. Now I'm seeing them all come in, and it sounds like Betty Jo is right on top of that, getting that. So that's really the county obligation. Once we get that list, it's really all on me and my title company. And so, or the title company that's working the case. And I do tell people, that my timeline gets hung up on my title work. So we can get the list, file that, what I call the skeleton petition. That's all on us. That comes out of my office. And then we sit and wait for the title company to get us the title work back. Now I do have, I have one title company that I work with in Sedgwick County, and they turn title for me really quick. And we do between 700 and 1,100 parcels a year on a 12 to 15 month calendar basis for Sedgwick County every year. It's called Security First. And we're going to use Security First up in Brown County, and we've already secured them. And that I will say that makes the process for us go a whole lot faster because I have a title company who I work with regularly that knows what I need, how I need it, what the follow-up documents are that I need. So we do save a lot of time using that title company for our work. And so
does that mean you only use that title company?
absolutely not. We will use whoever the county directs us to use. And up until about 7 or 8 months ago, I used to tell my treasurers and my county commissioners, we will use whoever you want us to use, whether, and I know Security First has a lot of local offices around the state. I think they're up to like 50 local offices in different counties now. But I've never really pushed for any one county because company because I don't want to take work out of the hands of local title companies. All that being said, it is what we have discovered as we have expanded our practice in the last 10 years into a lot of rural counties is that it is challenging for title companies to turn work for us when they don't know exactly what we're expecting because we don't ask for a typical E&O report and there are some things that go outside the scope of what may be found in an E&O report that we ask title companies to provide us because our job isn't to determine who's got liens and who might be an owner of a property. Our job is to give notice to anybody and everybody who could possibly have any kind of interest in the property, whether that's ownership or lien. Sometimes there's outstanding child support payments that someone owes and they've owned a piece of property. Well, we give notice to the child support collection agencies. So the fact that Security First has this longstanding relationship with us and understands our process, that just kind of speeds it up. But I use plenty. There's plenty of small, hometown, for lack of a better term, title companies that we work with throughout the state. And like out of I think the 42 counties that I now work for, Security First may be in like 15 or 16 of them. So there are still plenty that are outside the scope of that. It's easier for me, but if we, they turn it a lot faster, and that usually makes my commissioners happy when I tell them, hey, we got our title work in 2.5 months instead of 7 or 8 months. So, which it can't take that long.
Well, and I'm glad you explained that. We do have two title companies on either side of us here at the courthouse in Hiawatha. I had two questions for you, and I'm just going to ask them both. The first one was the status of our current tax sale being done in-house continues to be delayed. My concern is that you may lap us and your sale may happen before our in-house sale. So I want to make sure that doesn't cause any trouble. And the second thing is there seems to be a difference in between the two sales. Your sale results in if somebody purchases this property on a tax sale, they're not, as I understand it. Actually, you explain it. If a person buys a property on your tax sale, what are they liable for versus? And I understand our county process has been different. I guess
Sure.
Go ahead.
Sure. So as for lapping a case that's existing, that's not a problem for us, and it shouldn't be a problem for the attorney handling the existing case. We've done it before, and it does happen. And it does happen that we have cases, tax foreclosure cases, that are kind of coexisting at the same time. We've got that going on in Seward County right now. Down in Cherokee County, I think I don't know if I told Lucas this story or not, but we had been the third set of attorneys that had been hired down in Cherokee County back in 2018 or 2019. There were two prior pending tax sale cases that had not been gotten over the finish line, and we came in for the third pending, and we started and finished that before 1 and 2 got theirs finished. We ended up taking over one of those pending cases and fixing it and cleaning it up and getting over the finish line, and then one of them just continued in the normal course, and they were able to get it done. Since the properties don't overlap from case to case, the fact that the cases overlap is a non-issue, at least for us. So, and then yes, as for the what is the tax sale purchaser liable for? Bobby Joe had Betty Jo had given me a little bit of information about how it had worked in prior sales, and that if I understand it correctly, a bidder would come into your sale, make a bid, and then sign a separate subsequent agreement to pay 3 years worth of delinquent taxes in addition to their purchase price in order to acquire the property. There is no statutory authority for that. I don't think that's prohibited anywhere in the statutes. I think that if you have a tax sale purchaser that will agree to pay something that it's not necessarily obligated to pay, and you get that in writing, well, kudos to the county for getting that money. That we follow the statute that requires, or that states that at a tax sale auction, the property will be sold for cash in hand to the best bid available, or the best bid possible. And in some cases, that means the bid is $1. Sometimes it's $50,000. We are just required by statute to sell the property for the best bid available. In addition to the bid price, they have to pay the $21 deed recording fee. And we obtain, in our order of sale and notice of sale, we do announce that you will pay your bid price plus that recording fee, because that allows us to prepare the new sheriff's deed and have it recorded, and then send the new tax sale purchaser a copy of a recorded deed. And we don't have to prepare a deed, send it to the new owner and say, okay, now go file it yourself. As you can imagine, there's probably a significant percentage of those deeds that would never get recorded. And then we'd have all kinds of title issues. So we take care of that as part of the tax sale proceeding. Additionally, as we get closer to sale, we look at what we've spent in costs, how much title work cost, how much publication costs were, what we spent on service of process, and just different expenses in the case. And we evaluate whether we need to collect additional costs to cover the cost of sale at auction. 9% of the time, we say, yeah, let's do that. I think the only county we don't do it in is Sedgwick County, because we sell so many parcels. But we usually get a court order that allows us to charge anywhere from a $100 to $200 court processing or court cost fee, in addition to that $21 deed recording fee and the bidder's purchase price. And again, like I said, that's all sealed up with court orders that allow us to charge those expenses at the tax sale. Otherwise, it's really just the bid amount.
So is that per parcel fee, is that paid by the buyer?
Yes, it is paid by the buyer. And we have like 3 pages of announcements that we read and hand out at the time of tax sale. And we're very clear about the recording fee having to be paid when they pay their bid, as well as that court processing fee being paid with their bid. So and I think we might even put it in the published notice of sale. So it's everyone understands, like, that's the obligation when you come in. Now you're going to get a lot of questions, because people are going to say, well, wait a minute, the last time I bought property out of tax sale, I had to pay these 3 years of delinquent taxes. We don't do that, because the statute doesn't say that that's how you sell tax property. But like I said, if the county has been able to get people to pay it and they've signed an agreement to pay it, more power to them. The problem with that is when people think that they've got to come in. Well, one, the statute doesn't say that that's how you sell tax sale property, but also if people want to come in and try to pick up, a lot of land that's been next to their house for the last 10 years and no one's paid the taxes on it, you're going to lose bidders, or they may be reluctant to come in and place a bid if they think to get any kind of land, they're going to have some sort of liability on the prior delinquent taxes that are outstanding.
Does it work the same with judgments or assessments that are against the property?
So what we are foreclosing on is anything that was a lien on the property as of the date we take judgment. So when we take judgment against the property, and there are some nuances to that, but when we take judgment against the property, that is judgment that we are foreclosing anything that's a lien on the property. Now there may be liens that sneak up and we don't get service on because it was after we filed the lawsuit, maybe another lien attached, and when we took judgment, we didn't include that lien in our proceedings. That might be one that was not foreclosed and subject to any kind of abatement or wipeout. And there may be be a window of time after judgment, but before we get to sale, which is usually about 6 weeks because of our publication obligations, that maybe a special assessment is tagged onto the property. So there may be a few that don't get abated because they came on during the pendency of our case, or after we took judgment before we went to sale. We are very clear, and we make these announcements at tax sale that if there are liens that have shown up on the property after we filed our lawsuit and we did not get service on those liens, they may not be wiped out. And we tell the taxpayers, this is a buyer beware situation. You buy this property subject to any, you're not getting a warranty deed with this. You're just taking it subject to any of the ugly hiccups that may come along with buying property at a tax foreclosure sale.
So
And we
there is no warranty deed at this sale.
No, no, it is caveat emptor, buyer beware. And as I like to say in the announcements, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. I make no representations or warranties as to the conditions or attributes of any of the property that I sell. It is up to the buyer at a tax sale to understand what they're buying based on the legal description that I've published, not common address, but the actual legal description that I've published. It's up to the buyer to do their own research to understand what liens or easements or other attributes of that may affect the property's value that they are getting.
So since there is no warranty deed, does that mean that the title insurance companies are able to do a quicker turnaround since they're not?
No, because that doesn't really affect how the title company does work. We need everybody and anybody that might have even a little sliver of an interest in this property, because we want to be able to come in and defend our cases and say we've given notice to the world, and that we've given notice to every possible person, and we've served them accordingly under statute.
So would it be prudent? I mean, this is a year process still, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, roughly.
So could we set up, we're in the first quarter right now. Do we want to agree that maybe before summer, or obviously springtime, let's say another 2 months, we'd get another update as to where we are?
Oh yeah, you guys can, you can call me anytime.
I know how schedules are, and I know that if we don't just constantly say, where are we at? Not that you're not going to do your job. It's just, that's how my brain works. So what can we do? Right now, you just told us that it's in our hands, basically, because you're waiting.
Just waiting on the list.
You're waiting on the list from the county. So that puts it back on us. So, could we say like in another 2 minutes, have an update?
I was just pulling up the email real quick. The email I just got from Betty was, I have completed the sales list and currently ended up with 102. I'm going to go do a reprint and go over it one more time to make sure I've got the correct base of information for you. But I'm sending you what I have now and we'll hit you up with any other corrections or deletions. But actually there was nothing attached to that email. So it sounds like she's got a pretty good rough draft available. So I anticipate I'll have it by Monday or Tuesday. And
sounds like we're kind of on track then.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And as soon as I get that list and look at it and it looks nice and clean, I'll shoot it right over to my title company who we've already got lined up, which is great. So you said something, I was going to make one other point. There was one other question that came up. You asked if there was anything you could do. Oh, shoot, it slipped me now. I should have wrote it down when you said it. It was about the calendar. Yeah, I'm not sure, but it might come to me. But yeah, right now we'll as soon as we get the list, we'll roll it into a petition. And if you guys would like me to kind of send you, I can even just send you status email updates if you want. I typically once every couple months, as we have other kind of processes, as we kind of hit certain points in the litigation, I do tend to send the treasurer hey, here's your long update on where we're at and what we think the timeline will be, or has the timeline adjusted or shifted or anything like that. So the biggest waiting game for us is always from the time we filed that skeleton petition and then wait on the title work. So that's always just kind of the unknown. Otherwise, everything beyond that is set by statutory deadlines. So if there's, for example, if the IRS has a lien on a piece of property, we get the title work back and the IRS has a lien, I have to notify the U.S. Attorney's Office of the lien. They have 60 days to respond from the date of service. So we get service issued and then we calendar 60 days. That's always the longest. Typically, people have about 21 to 31 days to file a response. And then the publication has to roll on a certain calendar and the waiting periods roll on a certain calendar. So that's why I say once the title work comes in, I can pretty much set the timeline barring anything unforeseen in my office that doesn't allow us to get something done. But until we get past that receipt of title work, it becomes just kind of a little bit of a moving target with a range of time frame to complete. So,
We're learning
I do remember what I was going to say. It just came to me. I was going to say, just remember that the one thing that is a little bit different about me pushing these cases forward about, as opposed to maybe a county attorney or a county counselor doing it, is that we are retained as outside counsel. So we're paid on a per parcel basis that is paid by anybody that redeems or paid out of proceeds of the tax sale. But I don't get paid until I wrap up the case. And so if anybody knows what it's like to have open outstanding accounts on a job that they're working on, they understand we are incentivized to keep the cases moving. So that way we can get paid at the end of the case. So as people come in and redeem and they pay that $350 or $450 attorney fee, whatever it might be, that is all held by your treasurer in her tax foreclosure account. She doesn't say, oh, they redeemed property and they paid your attorney fee today. Here's your money. It doesn't work that way because we run a full accounting at the end of the case that has to go through court approval. We file a motion to get it approved, and then we get an order approving it, and then get a separate order paying it, allowing the treasurer to turn that money over to us or turn it over to district court.
Basically, it's kind of an escrow account that the money stays in.
You got it, 100%. So we are. That's
what
why
I heard from that. What I take
this.
away from that is because of that, you're not gonna you're gonna do your best job and you're gonna get it done as soon as possible.
Yeah, I answered
I
about
like
9
that
other
one.
I answered to about 9, 10 other partners who are always coming in going, hey, when are you going to get that big tax sale case wrapped up? We've been waiting to get paid on that for a year. So,
Can we just clarify also for everybody what tax years we are talking about right now?
Anything that has taxes that are delinquent let me clarify, 2021 and older for homestead properties. Most treasurers just say, okay, we're just going to use that one standard. If they have 2021 and or older, they're eligible for tax foreclosure. Regardless of the type of property it is. And it doesn't have to be a serious, I mean, we do see cases where, they didn't pay 17 and 18, but they paid 19, 20, and 21 when the property changed hands. And I say that's fine, but the taxes stay with the property, not the person. So even though the person who didn't pay 17 and 18 no longer owns the property, those taxes are still on the property. And so we do find that we don't always have consecutive years. There is a different timeline for commercial and vacant or abandoned property, which allows counties to say, okay, this is a commercial property, and so the time frame is 2022 and older, or it's vacant, abandoned, dilapidated property, that would be 2023 and older. But typically when we're starting new counties, the treasurers say, can I just look at this and do 2021 and older, and anything that's that, we'll call that eligible. And I said, that's fine. The statute does allow specifically for different timeframes and different years of eligibility based on the category of the property. I'm not sure. I send all of that information in a memo form to my treasurers at the beginning of the case and say, here are the parcel selection criteria. You pick your parcel. So I'm not involved in that decision. That decision's made at the county level. And I haven't seen the list yet from Betty Jo, so I don't exactly know if she's got commercial, vacant, and abandoned property with separately eligible years, or if she's just using the 2021 and older.
Okay.
All right. Michelle, Lucas here. We asked you to be on here today and appreciate both of you taking time out of your day to talk to us. Now, this is new to everyone here to actually, and we have questions, and we do get a lot of comments from people in Brown County about why we're not having tax sales. So we wanted to have you come on and explain and talk about some things. And you cleared some things up with me and then actually stimulated a few more questions, but that's all right. We'll do that some other time. Sounds like you have a financial motivation to get this done and to get it done as quick as possible. And so we appreciate that.
Sure.
You got the experience and you got the people in place. And it sounds like the treasurer is doing what she needs to do to get you the information. And who she may be working on 2 of these cases at the same time. So
Yeah, she is.
Okay.
And I will tell you this just real quick, if I can just give a huge shout out to Betty. She is fantastic. She is asking, I know she's probably never done a lot of these tax sales, but she's asking all of the right questions. She is well versed in what makes properties eligible. She is doing a really great job. And I've already received feedback from my legal assistant, how much she thinks she's going to like working with her. She's like, oh, she's good. She's doing everything right. And we don't always have that. Sometimes we get treasurers that have never done a tax sale in their 15 or 20-year career. And you have to teach them a lot from the tax sale standpoint. So she's fantastic.
Wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. And a quarterly update would be great if you could
Perfect.
work it in, especially since this is our first run. You
Mhm.
have my email. If there's something's important that you want us to know, if you'd send me an email, then I can distribute it and make sure everybody
Perfect.
sees it. But other than that, it sounds like it's moving like it's supposed to be moving, and we appreciate all your work.
Okay. Well, yeah. Thanks, Chris. Did I miss anything?
No, but I do have a question, commissioners. I want to go back to the way that you've done, it's been done in the past. And as I understand it, that you'd have a tax sale, a bidder would be Mr. Jones comes and bids on parcel number 1 and buys it for $500 and then agrees to pay the tax lien in full. Is that my understanding?
3 years back is the way it was explained to us.
Right. And so the the tax lien is paid plus whatever would be the bid amount is paid. So there are basically 2 payments. My question is what happened, what's done? Do you know what's done with the cash portion of the bid?
The answer is we don't know, but
Okay.
that's a question.
Right.
I'm glad you asked it.
Right. Because my feeble brains thinking is that when we sell the properties, and let's say the tax lien is $1,000 and the property sells for $2,000. Well, then that $2,000 is that now the court's holding is used to pay the taxes and the interest and the cost and the expenses and everything. So the property is wiped out or is wiped clean of any obligation to the county. Then let's say there's $100 left over. Well, that $100 actually belongs to either intervening lien holders or to the owner. All right. And then what Michelle does is that after we're all done, there'll be an amount of, perhaps, not always, depending upon your mix of parcels, but there usually are some excess proceeds that remain in the case, and then the owner, or let's say somebody has a mortgage on the property or a mechanics lien, then it's up to those people to come in and file a motion and get an order asking the court to disperse it to that person. So if I'm the owner of the property and there's $100 left there, then I would go in and get an order, and that money gets sent to me or paid out to me as the owner. So there's total transparency or legal transparency and legal approval by the court as to how all that money gets dispersed out. And so I just wanted to make sure that we kind of cover that point as you go back and look at your processes, is that the county gets whatever's owed on the taxes plus costs and expenses, and if there's anything left over, then that's subject to later disbursement, which we don't handle. We just set it up for other people to come in and ask for the money, because the one thing you don't want your council to do is get in the business of either approving or disapproving or getting involved in how other people's money gets dispersed. So just to kind of clear that up.
Okay, so it's a good question and we'll follow that up with council and understand the process a little bit better. I'm glad you brought it up though. It sounds like it's a first come, first serve is the way you're describing where that money goes into a bucket.
Right, it's basically up to the end, and right now, we just got done with a fairly large case for Sedgwick County, and Michelle's basically looking at it like how many more of these motions are going to be filed, because sometimes we set a year and nobody files anything, and then all of a sudden you have a few. But it seems like right now there was a good number of people that were watching the sale, and they're just coming in kind of bing, 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 and asking for the excess proceeds, which is fine with us because we don't get involved in that. But there is that there is that activity.
Okay, well, wonderful. It's been 38 minutes. I asked for 30 and you gave me 8 more. I appreciate that.
Listen, you just need to know that whenever you ask us to get on and talk to you, we could go hours.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to know hours worth of tax foreclosure information, but we could go hours.
Yeah, you want to
You gotta
bring in
cut us
dinner,
off.
bring in dinner and drinks, we're ready to go.
Okay, well, thank you and have a good rest of your day.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
A lot of information.
Yeah, I started to write it down, but she talks fast.
There's about 8 processes that I got and it's, I think if we get our updates, but like she said, they're motivated to get this done about as fast as it can go. And that's what I was worried about more than anything is, are we lagging behind or is it gonna just drag out? But
Sounds like they're moving as fast as really can be moved. Yeah, okay, this is new for everybody here. You never did a tax lien. No, I haven't, you haven't.
the number one thing though, Lucas, was I wanted to hear what the county does to delay it.
Yeah.
Right? So we can be aware that it's in our court. And right now it's in our court, but it sounds like BJ's on top of it. So that's more or less what I was looking at was what can we do to make sure that when it comes back to us, it's not sitting for 2-3 weeks before we look at it.
Right.
And it sounds to me like literally the first process, which is in place right now, and then it gets handed off to them, and then it becomes the title insurance companies, which is going to be the next stumbling block in that 1 year commitment.
Okay, okay, so then we got an update on the new tax. Would anyone, I would like to have an update on the old tax lien.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to call our county attorney here at some time, get him on the agenda and ask him the same questions.
100%, yes.
So I don't know how we go ahead and do that. Can we just reach out to put him on the agenda and just discuss all things tax sale?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Obviously, his schedule is going to dictate. So Nikki, in the past, were you part of that? Does the request go through you to, because he's going to look at his schedule and say, I can't be there. I'm in court or whatever.
Yeah, because I have.
So Marcy would be the person you reach out to? Okay, so can you do that then and let him, I guess it's gonna, his schedule is gonna dictate that meeting.
Sure.
So.
Sure.
Very good.
And with that, I mean, that's a public official coming to talk to public officials, so we don't do that in work session like that's gotta be me.
Correct. Right.
Okay, all right, well, that's fine, that's great. We are trucking along. Anything on your mind, Bill?
If, on the title companies, we got any,
I'm sorry?
on the title company that we use or they use, or is there any?
Okay, well, personally, I think we need to look into that. Because anytime we can keep the money within the county, we should be trying to keep the money within the county.
I agree.
And can we talk about that at the workshop session?
Like you talking about using a different, yeah, but you probably should talk to them about how they're.
I think we could reach out to them. Do you have her email? You should, I mean, I'm forwarding stuff to you. Michelle.
Michelle,
Yeah, just shoot her email with what your thoughts are. Sounds like she works with different title companies, but they found one that they're, hooked up with.
Right. I just always think that anytime the county can keep work within the county, that's part of our job of doing it.
I agree with that.
And I do too. I'm gonna give her quite a bit of latitude on round one here because she's stepping into sort of a big deal and it's everybody's first time on this.
Sure.
And I think the next time we do this and say 2 more years, maybe we'll have an opportunity to use. To use the local companies.
I don't see him. Quite agree with that. I think we ought to, this time we ought to look into it.
And I think Lucas is saying that we can look into it, but
Right.
we're not there yet. In other
Right.
words, that process is not holding them up yet, but
Right.
it's something we should, because maybe the local title companies don't have
Or don't-
capacity right now. to
And
take it on.
yeah, you never know.
So that'd be the first thing, you never know.
Yeah, okay. All right. So that's great. Going to my phone here to look at my notes. Does anyone have any other business to discuss?
I think the session.
5 minutes? Or,
No, like to, that's now be.
okay, with the commissioners and you present. So I'd make a motion to have an executive session for 5 minutes to discuss non-elected personnel and duties with the 3 commissioners and the county clerk present. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Right.
Okay, motion carried. 5 minutes.
Hmm.
We're back in regular session, out of executive with no binding action taken. I am going to ask for another executive session to discuss non-elected personnel duties and compensation with the three commissioners and the clerk present. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. 10 minutes. So that puts us back around 2:30.
Just remember, be kind.
Okay, we're out of executive session. We're back
you.
into regular, no binding action taken. Okay, is there any other business to come before the commission, before we adjourn and move into work session? Is there any other items that need action this week? Or before the weekend? There's none.
I don't think so.
Okay, Dallas, how about you? You got anything for us? How's IT?
Busy this day.
Did you work on digitizing those NRP forms, the
Yes.
exhibits?
Yes, the OCR didn't work as well as I thought, so may have to manually ask that. But I will have another update for that.
Okay, perfect, all right. Is there anything else? You worked with Richard on his iPad?
That was a couple
good.
weeks ago, yeah,
A couple weeks ago, that's fine. Everything else is.
it's charging and holding a charge now, so.
Okay, good. All right, well, if there's no other business, then I would ask for, go ahead.
So one thing, I know people watch the meeting to keep. Have we made an announcement why we do the workshop meetings? I mean,
Probably, but you got something to say?
just for anybody wondering, the workshop meetings are where we don't take any action, we don't vote on anything, but it's a chance to list what we're working on, to list our problems and to try to figure out where we are at. So if somebody hears that we're going into a workshop meeting afterwards, or we have them on Thursday, that's the sole reason, is to try to have more time together, since we can't deal with each other outside of here.
Mhm.
So that's, I
And
just
it's
want
still
every,
public. It's still
the public thing that they are welcome to come to. I just want people to understand what we are doing. We're doing extra meetings to try to solve the problems.
Kind of
That's it.
barnstorming.
Brainstorm.
Brainstorm.
Yeah.
Barnstorming, whatever they call it.
Yep, sounds good. Okay, well, if there's nothing else in front of the commissions, anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
Move adjourned.
Okay. I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. We're adjourned. All right, thank you. You guys want to take a little break before we get started? We'll get shape.
Whatever you need.
I'm gonna get some more water.